Good evening and welcome to the Orange County School Board's regularly scheduled meeting this Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. It's nice to see people in the chambers after so much time of being here by ourselves during COVID. Let me mention that we have all members present in the chambers, but in a minute I will take roll call. And let's do that now. Let's begin with Member Gallo. Member Lopez. Member Cobert.
Good evening, Chair.
Vice Chair Gould.
Present, thank you.
Member Felder.
Present.
Dr. Castrodano.
Present.
And Member Byrd.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
We begin our meetings usually with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Before doing that, unfortunately, we have lost a couple of important members of our OCPS family very recently, and I wanted to call first on Member Byrd, and then I'm going to call on Member Felder, and then Member Felder will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, the moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance. Member Byrd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our Apopka High School community lost a very dear friend this past week, Mr. Earl Graham. Earl Graham was a volunteer football and basketball coach in the Orlando area for over 40 years. He donated his time and efforts at various times to Jones, Edgewater, Wekiva, and most recently Apopka High Schools. He was a firefighter for the city of Orlando as well for over 25 years until his retirement. He was also one of the originators of AAU basketball efforts in Central Florida, where his teams and programs mentored and opened doors for literally thousands of athletes in our area. He was a devoted father and grandfather, and his legacy is felt by many throughout OCPS and the greater Orlando area. We are very saddened to have lost him. I know that he meant a lot to our basketball team and our faculty and many families in the Apopka area. So thank you for allowing me to have a few minutes to honor him.
Thank you, Member Byrd. And we also had a terrible tragedy over the weekend. We lost, through a car accident, members, family members, and students. So let me call on Vice Chair Gould to discuss the tragic loss of two of our young students.
Yes, we had one alumni student and one current student, and two others are currently in a coma. So our thoughts and prayers are going out to them, their families, and hopefully for a recovery for the two that are still alive but in critical condition.
Yeah. So for those of you who have faith in a higher being, we'd ask for you to join us in prayers for those two young people that are students of Orange County Public Schools and are hanging on for life. And we hope that they come through and they're back with us soon. Member Felder, if you could now share with us your news about one of your district employees.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is in memory of a gentleman who worked in Oak Ridge in my district. This is in memory of Major Lagoj Graham, and I'd like to take a moment and just read something. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, a pioneer is one who goes before to prepare and open up the way for others to follow. For the students, family, faculty, and staff members of Oak Ridge High School, there isn't a more fitting description to honor the life and legacy of Major Lagoj Graham, retired U.S. Air Force, born and educated in Fayetteville, North Carolina in 1976. Major Graham joined the Air Force to serve and defend our country, a duty he fulfilled for 20 years. His military career took him to South Carolina, Korea, Germany, Texas, in various intelligence roles. During that time, he was also assigned to the University of Cincinnati as an assistant professor of air science for 3 years. Following his retirement in 1996, he took up the mantle to inspire pride, instill discipline, and impart leadership skills to young high school students. As an Air Force junior ROTC instructor, he spent another 20-plus years on the staff at Oak Ridge High School. There, he was known among his colleagues as kind, warm individual who never complained, who never gave up, and always sought the best for his students. Just last February, Major Graham was honored in this very room, along with others, for his distinguished military career and service to the students and families of District 5 during the 2020 District 5 Annual Recognition and Black History Month celebration. We join in expressing our condolences to the Graham family and Oak Ridge Pioneer family and community at this time. May the pioneering life and legacy of Major LaGouge Graham continue to inspire all who fondly remember him. Now let us come into a time of meditation. Please, silent meditation. Please stand. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Byrd, Vice Chair, and Member Felder. I want to make one quick announcement before we move on with some important recognitions. For those members of the public who might be watching us, I know sometimes it's tempting to email us during the meetings. From time to time, I've gotten emails about mechanical failures and other things, but I do want to inform the public that board members will not be monitoring their emails during the meeting. So if you wish to contact us, the best time to do that is either before or after the meeting. So let's move on with tonight's business. Well, no, before we move on to tonight's business, we want to take this opportunity to recognize some student athletes from Boone, from Olympia, and Winter Park High Schools, whom we are so proud to call champions this 2021 school year. And please, if you would join me in welcoming Doug Patterson, District Senior Administrator of Athletics and Activities, to share highlights from our fall 2020 sports season.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the school board, and Superintendent Jenkins. It is my pleasure to recognize the following students who have excelled athletically in swimming and diving this fall. Joining our student athletes tonight are swimming and diving head coaches from Boone, Olympia, and Winter Park High Schools, who will share brief remarks about these remarkable state champion student athletes. Our first state champion is a freshman from Boone High School, Laney Gutch. Laney won the FHSA state championship in 1 meter diving. Please help me welcome Boone Aquatics coach, Michael Martinak.
So first off, thank you, school board members and Chair Member Jacobs. It's an honor to be here. Really happy. Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Barbara Jenkins and County Athletic Director Doug Patterson for all of your efforts going towards athletics this year. I know it was very, very difficult. Then also thank you to my principal, Dusty Johns, and Athletic Director Kevin Deemer. These 6 athletes that are here tonight, they represent the faces of 500 to 600 swimming or diving athletes that were able to compete because of the work not only done in this chamber, but outside with countless efforts. And specifically, the divers faced a lot of challenges. There was only one operational diving board in the entire county that happened to be at Winter Park. So neither of the state champions had a board to dive on, but very fortunate that Winter Park hosted many Saturday invitationals that turned into very long Saturdays for us. But it was great to be able to compete, and their dedication to their sport is unmatched. Laney, she's the ultimate competitor, while always doing her best to support her fellow divers. Her smile is contagious to her fellow athletes and teammates, and she has an unrelenting attention to detail that is required to succeed at the next level. She also has an incredibly kind heart. Like Mr. Patterson said, Laney finished her freshman year as the 2020 Metro East champion, 2020 FHSAA Class 4A District 3 champion, setting a new school record with a score of 511, Region 1 champion, and the FHSAA Class 4A state champion. Lainey has set a high standard for herself moving forward, and I hope we can be back at the ceremony for the next 3 years celebrating her future successes.
Thank you, Michael, and congratulations, Lanny. Our next state champion is from Olympia High School and also captured the FHSA state championship in 1-meter diving, and that is senior Brandon Wegner from Olympia High School. Please help me welcome Olympia swimming coach Kathy Zimmerman.
Good evening. I also tap off of what Michael said. Thank you all for giving us this opportunity to let our athletes shine. I also thank Mr. McElvin, our athletic director, who went through a lot to put our fall season together and get us started as fast as we could. That was a lot of outside efforts in his part as well, so thank you so much. So my focus is Brandon Wenger. He's a 4-year varsity athlete for Olympia High. He also dives year-round for a national level club team. And despite all the athletic challenges this year, Brandon's relentless efforts enabled him to maintain his training and achieve his high school season goals. I've had the pleasure of watching Brandon compete throughout high school, qualifying for 4 4A state champion meets, placing in the top 8 each year. After many years of intense training, here we are today celebrating Brandon's ultimate goal, the 2020 4A state champion in 1-meter diving. He also holds 2 All-American standings as well. Diving, like many individual sports, is a one-chance attempt. The divers had to perform 11 close to perfect dives in order to gain this state title. Brandon hit all 11 dives. I've watched Brandon perform throughout the season and over the past 4 years, and even when he was younger as a youth diver. And that day, I could just see in his demeanor and his attitude and his focus that it was going to be his day. And each day, believe me, each dive I was clenching, but as I was videotaping, but I just knew it. I could feel it. I've known him for a long time as well, so we have that long-term relationship, and I'd be like, you got this, you got this. And so it ended up being his day. All in all, Olympia High School Athletics wish you all the best as you move into your next chapter diving for the University of Florida. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kathy, and congratulations, Brandon. Finally, our third state championship tonight, comes from Winter Park High School with their women's 200-yard freestyle relay team made up of seniors Lucy John, Mariah Freitas, and juniors Cambria Semin and Lockett Bowley. Please help me welcome Winter Park swimming coach Joe Howard.
Just want to say, Brandon, good choice. We're super thankful for you guys letting us have athletics this year. It's really great for them. We also thank you for your guidance, as well as our principal and AD, Matt Arnold and Andy Childs. Without them and their guidance and organization, we would have been out for 2 weeks, a month, whatever. So those guys did an excellent job doing that. Without athletics, students can't have a release. They can't achieve special recognitions. They can't represent their schools. And they can't prepare themselves to be a student athlete at the next level in college. So thank you again on behalf of every athlete in Orange County. All right, with that, I want to introduce you to the state high school winning 200 freestyle relay. This relay achieved automatic All-American status. So, All-American Lucy John, senior, who is also committed to swim at the University of Arkansas. Lucy John. Stand up, Lucy. Also, we have 4-time All-American Cambria Semin. She's a junior. She also played the piano at our Oscars award ceremony. She did a great job there. 5-time All-American Mariah Freitas. senior who's also committed to swim at George Washington University. 6-time All-American Lockup Bowley, and she is a junior. Also, I'd like to mention Mariah Freitas and Lockup Bowley are the only 2 athletes in the district, male or female, to achieve academic All-American status, which is an achievement of 3.5 GPA or greater and a USA individual national time standard. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and congratulations, ladies. Congratulations to all of our student athletes and to our coaches for ensuring their success in and out of the pool, especially during this challenging fall season that none of us have seen. I, too, want to thank the school board as well as Dr. Jenkins for all the efforts this fall for allowing our students to play. Seeing our fall season come to fruition was absolutely incredible. So on behalf of everybody in Orange County Athletics, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson, thank you so much. You know, I will call on Member Covert and Member Gallo in just a minute. Research has proven that sports help students in so many ways. It helps improve cognitive skills, we know this. But in addition to that, it helps to develop team sports discipline. It helps to develop collaboration towards shared goals and to build character, teamwork, and sportsmanship. And as I look at what is happening around the nation today, I think every day of how important those skills are going to be to you to lead this next generation. So I have no doubt that the 6 students that we are recognizing, the athletes that we're recognizing today, are well prepared to lead us in so many ways. We are enormously proud of you as a board, and on behalf of the entire school board, and I am going to call in a couple members who want to brag on you a little bit. But we wanted to say congratulations. We look forward to following your athletic careers, and we look forward to following you through life. So with that, let me recognize Member Covert and then Member Gallo. Member Covert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. So first to Lainey, Brandon, Lucy, Mariah, Cambria, and Lockett. We are incredibly proud of you. This has been an especially challenging year, and we all mothers who sit up here so wanted you all to be able to play and have a season. And it took us a little minute, but we got there. But it was a team effort, and you all got to shine and show off your talents because of that team effort. And I especially want to thank our coaches, our athletic directors, Mr. Patterson, Dr. Border, and Dr. Jenkins for your diligence in helping ensure that our student athletes got to have a season, even with everything going on. So I appreciate that from all of you. And students, I say all the time, I know that our future in this country is in good hands because I see the type of young people that we have that will be entrusting that future to. So we could not be more proud of you. Thank you, everybody, and congratulations.
Well said, Member Covert. Member Gallo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say congratulations to Winter Park. You guys rock. That's so awesome. I'm just so proud, and I'll just echo a few sentiments of Chair Jacobs and Member Cobert. This was a tough year, and getting high school sports out and running out of the gate was challenging, to say the least. Swimming was, I think, one of the first to come up. It was at least the first that I started getting emails about what was going on. We'll be able to use the pools. What does that look like with COVID? So to be able to get the students out and able to compete at the level that they competed out this year, that's just amazing. So thank you, Dr. Border, Mr. Patterson, our esteemed AD and principal over at Winter Park for all that you've done, because I know you had a lot of people descending on your pool because I think it was the only one in a radius that could be used. So thank you for your cooperation for all that you do for our students. Thank you so much, and congratulations, students.
All right, Mr. Patterson, you want to take your crew out? Thank you. Thank you, sir. You all are welcome to stay with us the whole evening if you'd like. I don't want you to feel like we're throwing you out, but if I were you, I would leave.
Wow, we have an empty room.
I know, right?
Everybody's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. Mm. All right, board members, we're all just saying what a great way to start our first board meeting of the year. All right, today we are also proclaiming January 25th through the 29th as Celebrate Literacy Week here in Orange County Public Schools. And we are now going to have a strategic update on Cognia Accreditation presentation from Ms. Sasser. Maybe Ms. Sasser and company.
We're bringing in staff who
I know,
had
we
to
had to-
vacate for the numbers.
We had to, for the benefit of anybody who might have tuned in, we had to space out and keep our staff out for the last meeting so that we could meet our social distancing requirements. Dr. Jenkins, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We are at that time of year. Although we are in a pandemic, we do have to proceed with our accreditation schedule. And so we're going to hear from staff now regarding Cognia Accreditation. It used to be Advanced Ed, just the new name of the organization that does our accreditation.
Can I ask you to pull the mic a little closer? I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but I think we'll have a better chance of picking up your voice. Maybe it's not on.
It wasn't.
Oh, that worked. That always helps so much. Thank you.
We are ready to go.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Sujata Wisha-Walter, and I serve as the Director for the Accountability and Improvement Department under the Office of Research, Accountability, and Grants led by Dr. Jennifer Sasser. This presentation will provide an overview for our upcoming Cognia Accreditation System Engagement Review, which will be conducted remotely through a virtual platform. Our last engagement review was conducted in 2015. Accreditation is a voluntary method of quality assurance developed more than 100 years ago by American universities and secondary schools. It is designed primarily to recognize institutions adhering to a set of educational standards and policies. Accreditation applies to an entire institution or system. For the purposes of this presentation, it is important to know that Cognia refers to schools as institutions and districts as systems. Institutions and systems seeking to earn and maintain accreditation must continuously meet the Cognia accreditation policies, standards, and requirements. Cognia is a non-profit, non-partisan organization that conducts rigorous on-site and remote reviews for a variety of educational institutions and systems. The framework for accreditation through Cognia allows institutions to employ meaningful actions toward improvement. Systems and institutions seeking to achieve or maintain accreditation understand, honor, and embrace the concept of continuous improvement. These systems and institutions are engaged every day in a journey of improvement and hold themselves responsible for taking action. They are dynamic, continuously evolving, and with a focus on becoming better on behalf of the students they serve. Using a set of rigorous research-based standards and evidence-based criteria, Cognia's performance accreditation examines the whole institution. They review policies, programs, practices, learning conditions, and cultural context to determine how well the parts work together to carry out the institution's strategic vision to meet the needs of every learner. Cognia accreditation is not about earning a label for a one-time evaluation. Rather, it recognizes those institutions that have sustained an exemplary commitment to continuous improvement and learner outcomes throughout the accredited years. The accreditation process allows for an external and objective validation of the areas in which the district is doing well and the areas for continuous improvement. The accreditation frameworks includes 3 domains. The domains are statements that define the capacity of an organization or institution to meet the rigorous demands of continuous improvement. Each domain is further defined by standards. The leadership domain describes the capacity of leaders to ensure an institution's progress towards its stated objectives. An institution's leadership capacity includes the fidelity and commitment to its purpose and direction, and the effectiveness of governance and leadership to enable the institution to realize its stated objectives. It also incorporates the ability to engage and involve stakeholders in meaningful and productive ways, and the capacity to implement strategies that improve learner and educator performance. The learning domain supports the impact of teaching and learning as the primary expectation of every system and institution. An effective learning culture is characterized by positive and productive teacher-learner relationships, high expectations and standards, and a challenging and engaging curriculum. This domain also emphasizes quality instruction and comprehensive support that enable all learners to be successful, as well as high-quality assessment practices that monitor and measure learner progress and achievement. A quality institution evaluates the impact of its learning culture, including all programs and supported services, and adjusts accordingly. The resource domain ensures that resources are aligned with the system's stated purpose and direction and distributed equitably and effectively so that the needs of the system are addressed. The system examines the allocation and use of resources to ensure appropriate levels of funding, sustainability, organizational effectiveness, support for professional learning of all staff, and increased student learning to demonstrate system effectiveness. The accreditation review process began with professional development of schools and system staff, followed by rounds of evidence collection and narratives, and will end with the upcoming remote engagement review in March. District teams participated in Cognia-led professional development during the months of May and June, and school teams completed their trainings during the month of September. District teams were created with staff selected among all divisions within our system. They were then assigned to one of the 3 Cognia domains. They served as the liaison for all departments within their division, and they helped identify, collect, and review the system evidence. School teams included principals, and they selected their teams from their school staff. The school teams attended trainings for all domains. Just like the district teams, they too had the task to identify, collect, and review their own school evidence. The process to collect evidence started in June for the district teams and in September for the schools. Evidence included a variety of supporting artifacts such as presentations, agendas, documents, data analysis summaries, and other artifacts in support of the standards for each of the 3 domains. The emphasis is on the quality of evidence and not the quantity. The evidence selection was made with the goal to provide high-quality, results-based evidence that focus on the highest levels of performance related to the continuous improvement process. At the district level, there are narratives per each domain that reflect alignment with the Cognia standards, describe systems in place, outcomes, and the improvement journey for the last 5 years. At the school level, they completed an executive summary that described their school, how they address all 3 domains, and their notable achievements and identified areas for improvement. A team of certified individuals from in and out of the state of Florida is selected by Cognia to conduct a review. The review team will go through the evidence and narratives submitted by the system and for a sample of our schools. The review team verifies the extent to which the system and schools have met the requirements and fulfilled the expectations of accreditation. They discover and highlight what the institution does well and where it may need to improve. As part of the process, the institution receives a report that provides objective, meaningful, evidence-based feedback tied to the domains and standards that stimulates and drives improvement. The system engagement review was originally scheduled as an on-site, in-person review. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Cognia made the decision to conduct a review remotely and also extend the review by 1 day to allow time for all accreditation activities to take place. The remote system engagement review will take place from March 7th through March 11th. During a traditional engagement review, the team conducts school visits, Elliott observations in classrooms, and in-person interviews with stakeholder groups. Due to the remote modality of our upcoming engagement review, we will not have Elliott observations or in-person school visits. However, there will be remote interviews with stakeholder groups. Cognia has also informed us that all accreditation activities will be completed through the Zoom platform. The accreditation engagement review schedule is provided by Cognia to the district. On Sunday, March 7, the Cognia engagement review team will meet to review the details of their schedule and assign tasks per team member. On Monday, March 8, the following activities will take place. A district presentation is provided by the superintendent to the entire review team. This presentation sets the stage to outline the district's vision, mission, and priorities. Cognia identifies specific roles for staff they wish to interview. District interviews will include various leadership groups, including the school board, where Cognia has requested to interview each school board member individually, cabinet members, and the bargaining leadership groups for both CTA and OSPA. On Tuesday and Wednesday, March 9 and 10, we will have the following accreditation activities. District interviews will continue if they are not completed on March 8th. School focus interviews will be conducted at a sample of approximately 30 to 40 schools. Sites were selected to represent the overall OCPS demographics and programs. School principals will follow Cognia's process to select participants to ensure a diverse representation across all stakeholder groups. These focus groups will include school leadership, teachers, parents, students, and business partners and community members. On the last day, March 11th, the review team will conduct their deliberations and provide an exit presentation to the superintendent and district leaders. It is important to note that while the engagement review team completes their work on March 11, our district will not receive official accreditation renewal status until the summer after the Cognia committee meets to review and award accreditation status based on the report from the review team. Dr. Elgart, the CEO for Cognia and our lead evaluator for our engagement review, will be providing a final report with their findings, and it will be shared with all stakeholders upon availability. Thank you for your time. This concludes our presentation. I will now turn it over to Dr. Jenkins for further comments and discussion.
Dr. Vasquez.
And thank you, Ms. Showalter, and members of the accountability team. Board, this certainly has been an interesting time to participate in this evaluation, but certainly it's allowed us the opportunity to delve deep into our practices with the adoption of your new strategic plan. It's given the district an opportunity to ensure our alignment. We look forward to the visit and the conversations and ultimately their feedback on how we may improve upon our practices and continue with what we are doing well. I'll turn it over to the chair now.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. Any comments or questions from board members? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to next item on our agenda. And Dr. Vasquez, do we have any newly appointed administrators to introduce or announce tonight?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you. Dr. Jenkins, any changes to the consent agenda?
There are no changes, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Before we take up any official action, let me find out first if we have any members of the public that are either here present or on the line for public comments.
Madam Chair, we do not have any in-person speakers. However, we do have 2 callers on the line. One is for Freedom High School, which is item 3.02, and one is for Windermere. However, Windermere is no longer on the agenda, so we really just have one public speaker.
And that's for public hearing?
Yes, for
after the consent
3.02.
agenda. All right, so seeing as there are no comments from the public regarding the consent agenda, is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Motion by Vice Chair Gould, is there a second? Second by Member Gallo. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously without a roll call vote. So nice.
I do have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Member Gould, Vice Chair Gould, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would request a special exception for the Windermere caller because we did workshop that targeted rezoning, and this would have been the place for that public comment. And because we didn't get the support of the community, it's not on this agenda, but this would be a place where they would be allowed to speak. So if they still choose to speak, I would request that special exception.
Absolutely. And that would be, had it been on the agenda? Why don't we take that comment first, since it's not on the agenda? So we have a caller on the line who wishes to speak to the Windermere targeted rezoning that we are not hearing today, but we'd still like to hear those comments. If the team in the back can figure out how to do that, it's a challenge.
Our caller on Windermere is Yolanda Elzate.
Welcome. If you can give your name and address for the record, and we'll welcome your comments.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
This is Yolanda Alzate, and my address is 6575 Old Carriage Road, Independence, Winter Garden.
Okay, go on with your comments.
Yes, I have been living here for 14 years, and we wait a long time and fought for the Windermere High School for a long time and finally got it. And now I found out recently that my daughter had to go to another school. I have talked to many parents here in Independence, and everybody's so confused why Independence is not included in going to Windermere High School. So we would like you to please reconsider that and ask if we need to get signatures to get zoned to Windermere High School, or what can we do to get back for our kids to go back to Windermere High School.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from Vice Chair Gould.
So thank you for calling in. I know that we've exchanged emails and we've spoken. Just to refresh the board's memory and to get on the record, the process that we went through. We went through our regular rezoning, and we had a request to look at a targeted rezoning. It's not possible because of the way our neighborhoods are not so neat to take all of Independence. So we looked at part of Independence that's a little closer, a hair closer to the Windermere High School than the new high school. The overall community did not want to do that, and it would breaking up communities is very difficult, and we during our work session kind of discussed this, and we know that may come to a point if we can't make the boxes nice and neat, because there are no boxes in Orange County because of lakes and roads and all kinds of things. But at this point, the community was not overwhelmingly in favor of it. In fact, there was more people who were against splitting up the community. So that is why. And the sheer size of Horizon West and that surrounding community of Horizon West, that high growth area, the split just happened that way, and it is, it's unfortunate. It does happen that way sometimes. If we ever look at another school in that area for relief, of course, we can reconsider it. But at this point, this was the decision based on community input.
Thank you, Vice Chair. All right, let's then move on. Dr. Jenkins, we're ready for item public hearing 3.01.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board will recall these were workshop previously for targeted rezoning. Dr. McGowan.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. This evening, we're bringing to you one technical and one targeted rezoning. I'd like to start with the rezoning process that we follow for all rezonings. On our slide, you can see our 8 steps that we follow. We spoke of targeted and technical. We give short definitions for you. A technical rezoning is generally where no students are involved. Well, there are no students involved, and it's generally uninhabited property. A targeted rezoning affects a small, specific area, and there's a limited number of students. And when you hear us talk relief school, that's an opening of a brand new school, a large area, and a large number of students are involved. The rezoning timeline for this set of rezoning is December 2nd. We had our community meeting. December 17th was our rule development workshop, and this evening is our public hearing. We accept community input through an electronic survey, through petition, and through email. And of course, it's one preference or input per household. Our first rezoning is the Asbury property. It is a technical rezoning. On the screen in front of you, the hash-marked area is the property that we are proposing to move. The red lines are the boundary lines for the elementary school. The 2 schools involved are Forsyth Woods and Little River. The area in yellow is the area that we are talking about moving from Little River to Forsyth Woods. Again, there are no students involved. If this rezoning is passed, this is what the school zones will look like. The area in green would be the new zone for Forsyth Woods, and the purple would be Little River. We've had no community response for this rezoning. Dr. Jenkins?
Madam Chair.
All right, board members, any questions before I turn to the district board member? Vice Chair.
Ms.
Oops,
Lopez.
not hers.
Ms. Lopez?
Ms. Lopez. Member Lopez. Thank you. Member Lopez.
Oh my God, can you hear me?
Member Lopez.
Yes.
You're recognized. Oh, there you are. You're recognized
Yes,
for a
but I'm
motion.
trying to-
It's
Do you
good
hear
that
me?
you're there because I can see you.
Okay.
But I forget that I can see you. I do appreciate the setup. It works much better. Member Lopez, you're recognized.
I understand that we did not have any response because not of our students are affected by this decision. Oh my God, I have to take this off. You put my accent plus the mask, and it's kind of hard. I want everybody to understand what I'm saying. So, I agree with this recommendation, of course, and we already discussed that 1 week ago, I believe, last week. So, yes, it's not going to affect none of our students, so I agree with that.
So you have a motion to approve?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we have a motion from Member Lopez. Do we have a second? Second from Member Gallo. And we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Member Lopez, for the record, your accent is delightful.
Thank you.
And I do not have any trouble understanding you at all. It's a joy every time you open your mouth to hear you. So just wanted you to know that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on, Dr. Jenkins, to our next public hearing.
Our next is a targeted rezoning. It is the Heritage Place and Crystal Creek neighborhoods. On our map, the area that is in hash mark is the area that we are proposing to move from the new Lake Buena Vista High School, formerly known as 80HSW4, to Freedom High School. Or in the minds of us, it's back to Freedom for the folks. For this school, there are approximately 100 students that we would be moving back. And if this is approved, the area in yellow would be the zone for the new Lake Buena Vista High School. The area in pink would be Freedom High School. Since the Rural Development Workshop, we have not received any additional written responses. Dr. Jenkins.
All right, thank you. We have no public comments on this either. If
We actually, Madam Chair, we do have one.
I'm sorry, this is
we
the
have
one where we
caller.
have one.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's take that caller's input first, and then I'll go to Member Colbert. Do we have a caller on the line?
Our caller is Hetty Nazario.
Thank you and welcome. If you can give your name and address for the record, and then we'd be delighted to hear your comments.
Hi, this is Hetty Nazario. I live at 12724 Orlando, Florida 32836. I'm sorry, the call keeps cutting out. No, I live in Heritage Place, and I'm the one. And I just hope you approve. A lot of kids don't want to have to move to new school away from home and everything they've since they were in kindergarten. And that's all I have to add. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are you on a cell phone by chance? Most likely, right?
I am.
Okay, yeah, that's where we're having some difficulty. Unfortunately, almost all of us have cell phones and very few of us have landlines anymore. But we do appreciate you taking the time to call back in. Member Colbert.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you again, Hetty, for all of your really wonderful advocacy work on this and working closely with Dr. McGowan and both school board members here. Board, as we discussed at a rural development workshop, this is keeping the whole of Hunters Creek together and will not harm the population of either school, as all of the growth area will be for our new Lake Buena Vista High School. So I would like to make a motion that we approve this rezoning as put before us.
Awesome. We have a motion by Member Colbert, a second by Vice Chair Gould. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we will move on to, we've already taken up the consent agenda. We are on item 1701. For board members, this is the letter, a copy of a letter is included in the in BoardDocs. The reason for asking for the board's support in petitioning the governor on this is because we, as you know, the superintendent reached out to the governor on the 17th, I believe it was, of December, asking for the governor to prioritize teachers and our frontline support staff, those that are in direct contact with students, our essential employees, be prioritized for the vaccination. We have not heard back. Unfortunately, that has happened on several times when we have written, but I still think it is worthwhile to communicate our concerns. Since that time, a number of things have happened. We have discovered not just one new strain, multiple new strains in different countries of the virus that is many times more contagious and has been discovered at least at one time in Martin County, not far from us. So I'm sure that other board members heard during the holidays concerns about opening our campuses back up, concerns about the new strain of the virus, and concerns. I heard one employee in particular, who I believe was 64, had more than one underlying condition that would put them at risk, and is 1 year away from being able to get the vaccine, and yet wants to return to our schools. And we need these seasoned employees in our schools. Our kids need them, not just academically, but our kids need them emotionally. Whether they're bus drivers, teachers, whether they're coaches, whether they're the cafeteria staff that they are used to seeing every day, this is their most normal environment. And this is not a great time to be putting substitutes in if we could find them. So since it is unlikely that the governor is going to change his position on frontline employees for public schools at this time. I couched the letter in such a way as to continue to acknowledge and support the request that all of our essential frontline employees be eligible for vaccines as soon as possible. That if the governor is not agreeable with that, that he at least allow school districts the flexibility to identify those employees that, due to age, and it could be that we set that age, it could be that the governor or the health department determines what that age threshold is. But due to age, not 65, but something under 65, and due to health conditions that make them very, very vulnerable, that we would be able to prioritize them and get them either to the convention center or to Orlando Health or to Advent Health, and to get them vaccinations now as part of this cohort. So I personally think this is an extremely reasonable request. I honestly think that to do anything less than this is irresponsible on behalf of not just our teachers and our support staff, but on behalf of the welfare of our students who rely so heavily on them. So I'm asking for the board's support to take another shot at sending a letter. The letter as drafted just has my signature. In my perfect world, it would have the signature of all 8 elected members of this board, because I think that that's more powerful. And I would urge you all support, but I will take feedback or questions at this time. Member Cobert.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for taking the lead on this. Our teachers and all of our school-based personnel who come in contact with our students are essential workers. We, as you know, this semester have 18,000 additional students who have come back to campus. And we do have teachers who are out who would like to come back, and they need that protection. So I am wholeheartedly in support of this, and I also want to reach out and thank our professional associations, FSBA, FADS, VASA, the other organizations who have jumped on board to support this as well as some of our other elected officials. I know Representative Smith sent us a letter today, a copy that he sent to the governor that was very well written, and I want to thank him as well for that. So I thank you for taking the lead, and I think that this is critical, if not essential. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for recognizing Representative Smith's letter. And this is not in conflict. It would dovetail. His focus is slightly different, but they in no way conflict with each other. And I think that we can support his efforts, and hopefully he will support ours. Member Gallo.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank you for writing this letter. I have actually was on the phone I've been on the phone with Representative Smith for a couple of weeks. I think he's tired of hearing from me, asking for his help in getting a letter to Governor DeSantis, because I think we all recognize and value our educators and understand they truly are essential workers. And in order for our economy to be where it needs to be, we need kids in school. We need kids learning. We have no clue what it's going to look like in the next coming months. And it's essential that the parents feel safe that their kids are there, that the teachers feel safe being there, that we have qualified staff in those positions that know and love our children. It's obviously clear. And I don't know of any other frontline worker, and I'm going to call our educators frontline workers, because our staff, our food and nutrition, our bus drivers, our teachers, our paras, they are all frontline staff. They spend up to 6 hours a day in a classroom, and they can have 18 to 20 students. I don't know anybody else other than nurses or other frontline workers that are getting the vaccines that spend that much time in close quarters with people. And so I'm extremely concerned with the numbers going up, and I'm extremely concerned for our teachers and our staff and our paraprofessionals and all of those that have direct contact with kids. So I want to thank you for doing this. I want to thank Representative Smith, because we've talked at length on what we can do for our teachers. I also want to thank Representative Placencia, because he's called the governor's office several times on our behalf asking that the teachers get vaccinated. He has called UCF to see if UCF is willing to work with us to administer the vaccines once we get it. So he's been extremely helpful in having that dialogue and getting through to people that I don't have access to, and reporting back the information to me. So I'm very thankful for him and for everyone, all the board members that have advocated it. And I will happily, in all caps, sign my name to this letter.
Awesome, thank you. And let me mention, just to double down on that, when you said teachers that have 28 students, our middle school and high school teachers and employees come in contact with so many more than that, that it really is, yeah, an extraordinary number. It's wonderful we've done as well as we've done as a district. This new strain obviously could change that environment. Member Gould.
I also want to express support and be happy to sign this letter. Member Gallo kind of touched on, and you have touched on two important points, but I want to highlight the economics of this. There is not another institution in the fabric of our community that has a greater reach than our schools. Because whether you're talking about our staffs, our students, the people that interact with our schools and then go back out into the community, the more we can shore this area up as a health and safety, the faster we can flatten the line and reduce the cases of COVID. I also want to get on record and make people aware that the CDC did expand the guideline a little bit today for people with comorbid issues, because they are at higher risk, obviously, of death if they get COVID. So that is out there, and please contact your physician. Both of the major hospital entities, Advent Health and Orlando Health, and Nemours as well, but Advent and Orlando are doing community-based vaccinations right now. If you meet the criteria, you can get an appointment, which is not easy, and they have some areas of walk-up. So for our teachers and our staff, that they should not wait until we can finally get it. I believe we will get it, because this is not only a state conversation, this is a national conversation. And we are such huge influencers. If you look at the flu and what happens with flu and how fast we get flu in the community with kids who are in school, and when they're not in school, that is just a direct result of how it impacts our community.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Let me ask one other thing. I did have this proofed by multiple people, and as seems to be my thing, I am looking at this letter that I drafted, and I'm finding a typo in the third paragraph. The word greater should be great. And so I would ask that the board, I'm going to make a motion that we support the resolution and send the letter with signatures from all members of this elected body and all elected members of this body, and have the authorization to make any minor typos that might be discovered.
I second.
There's a motion made by me. Who's the second? Member Kester-Deno. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, 1702, Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Just a couple of things to briefly share with you. Number one, I'm sure general public is curious about our numbers having converted to face-to-face. We noted the 18,000 were returning, but also that we had to send notification to any parent whose child was struggling academically to put them on notice and ask them to return their children to face instruction, or sign a document indicating they were knowingly keeping their child at home although they were struggling academically. I want to be very clear. We want children with us if that is the best scenario for them academically and emotionally. At the same time, we do respect parents have a right to make a decision that they believe is best for their child. And so given those parameters, I have the latest numbers. As of Friday, we were actually at 57% returning. So we increased from about 51, 52% up to 57% of our students returning to participating in face-to-face learning. Total of 114,346. Another 84,830 still doing our Launch Ed program. And I want to reemphasize, we appreciate those parents who are experiencing success and who are able to keep their children home. That helps us to put our strategies in place and try to limit any spread of the COVID-19 virus. So kudos to those parents just as well. Happy to have those back who have returned. Happy for those who are remaining at home. It helps us to manage during this pandemic. Also want to mention 5,200 bus riders returned to our buses. we are still confident we're able to keep those students separated fairly well, one per most buses. If they are siblings, that helps our numbers because they can sit together. They're in the house all day together anyway, all evening. And so we have that increase. I want to encourage parents who are able to continue transporting their children or carpooling, getting their children to school rather than riding the bus if they are at all able to do so. Secondly, lots of talk about the vaccine, and the only group that is eligible at this point are those 65 and over among our employees. Dr. Pino and the Florida Department of Health are partnering with us to work out some details to create a pod, if you will, similar to what some other districts are doing. Hillsborough County is dealing with the 65 and over crowd. We had some misinformation that they may have been getting special exceptions for employees who have existing health conditions that are considered to be higher risk. What we've learned is that they are only dealing with the 65 and older group of employees as well. So Dr. Pino and his team are working with us on creating a pod. We'll be sending out information to our employees who are 65 and over or about to turn 65 this month, and getting information so that we can coordinate with our health department and Dr. Pino on how we can help those individuals get their vaccines if they've not already done so. And I want to stress, we encourage individuals, most of our employees have probably already taken this on, but individuals who meet the criteria to pursue their own immunization, we just want to supplement that for our employees, Ron, and for because the majority of our 65 and over are actually classified employees. About compared to teachers, I believe we have 283 instructional and 484 classified employees. So if they've not been successful, we are working on trying to get that pod created to make it more convenient and at no cost. But we encourage our employees to seek out their own appointments in the meantime. And then lastly, I'd like to mention next Tuesday, when we return back from the MLK holiday, there will be a press conference, very exciting launch in partnership with the Orlando Regional Realtors Association and Valencia College, Orange County Public Schools, and Orlando Police Department, the launching of our new Junior Reserve Law Enforcement Program. I want to thank Cliff Long with the Regional Realtors Association who brought this idea forward to OPD as well as to Orange County Public Schools, similar to our junior ROTC program, only with law enforcement professions to be the exposure for these young people at Lake Nona High School and Jones High School. Very excited about that. Pleased that the official announcement is coming, and so pleased that both these principals immediately sought out input from their students regarding this possibility and got such significant and positive response, they were happy to move forward with it. So exciting times in Orange County Public Schools, even in the midst of a pandemic. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Do we still have item 1702 pertaining to the expulsion of a student from Cornerstone? We do not. Okay, thank you.
Parent decided not to come, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Emble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have one announcement for the board. Pursuant to section 286.011 subsection 8 Florida statutes, and in accordance with board policy BEC, an entity may meet in private with its attorney to discuss pending litigation to which the entity is presently a party before a court or administrative agency, provided certain conditions are met, including the requirement that a transcript of the executive session will be made part of the public record upon conclusion of the litigation. In this case, I'm requesting the school board's advice concerning settlement negotiations in pending litigation styled as TC, individually and as parent and natural guardian of WC, a minor, versus Orange County Public Schools in DOA case number 21-00031 on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, immediately following the regularly scheduled work session that will begin at 1 o'clock. The executive session will be a closed meeting held in conference room E at the ELC and will take approximately 60 minutes. A notice has been drafted for posting, and those attending will be Teresa Jacobs, Chair, Pam Gould, Vice Chair, Angie Gallo, School Board Member, Johanna Lopez, School Board Member, Linda Cobert, School Board Member, Vicki Elaine Felder, School Board Member, Karen Castor-Dental, School Board Member, Melissa Bird, School Board Member, Dr. Barbara Jenkins, Superintendent, Amy Enval, myself as the School Board's General Counsel, Sarah Corrin, Staff Attorney, and a Court Reporter. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any members of the board that have, I should have asked earlier, and that have committee reports to bring to the board at this time? Dr. Castor-Dental.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to notify the board that I am scheduling our first budget meeting for this year for February 2nd. And I have notified Wendy Dormal of CTA and Ron Pollard of OSPA so that they can prepare their budget priorities. And you should be getting a calendar invite from my assistant, Marilyn.
Awesome, thank you. Any other reports? If not, are there any items that board members, any policy discussions that board members wish to bring forward at a future time? Dr. Castor-Dental.
Yes, thank you. I just want to thank Dr. Vasquez for clarifying to parents that during this surge in the pandemic that OCPS will not force any parent to bring their child who is participating in Launch Ed at home back to school for in-person testing. And I hope that message is broadly communicated to all of our principals, parents, and teachers, and that those students will be held harmless. And that also teacher evaluations, a portion of teacher evaluations are made up of student test scores. And that's based on the assumption that teachers teach the same students from the beginning of the year. And now that so many students are returning to face-to-face from Launch Ed, many classes are shifting and students are getting different teachers than they started with. There are so many factors that are not conducive to a normal testing cycle that I question the results and how they're going to be used to judge our students and teachers in schools. I know we've talked or we've written a letter to the Department of Education, but I wonder what kind of flexibility do we have regarding teacher evaluations this year that allow them to get the benefit of the doubt and so that they're also held harmless. I don't know if the superintendent already
Dr.
has
Jenkins?
an answer for that, but if
Thank you.
not, that's a consideration.
Absolutely. Dr. Jenkins?
I was going to say, yeah, as you might well have guessed, we will need some direction from Florida Department of Education. We're not hearing a lot of flexibility, but that doesn't mean we won't have some flexibility provided. We'll keep you posted.
Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry, Member Felder.
Yes, I'm sorry. I kind of wanted to say something after Superintendent Dr. Jenkins made that wonderful announcement about the Law Academy coming to Jones High School in Lake Nona. I had a nice talk with, I don't know if you guys can hear me, with Dr. Borders, and I am so excited about that academy coming to Jones High School. And in light of what's been going on in our country in terms of law and order, I think it's more than apropos to introduce children at a younger age at the sanity of law and enforcement, what it means when it's done correctly. So I am so much in favor. I'm just so happy. I haven't had a chance to talk to any members of my constituency about that, but I certainly am going to go home and call people and tell them how excited I am, and I'm so grateful that it was even suggested by the superintendent that this type of academy should come into our district. And I understand from Dr. Borders as we begin to pilot the program and see its success, I'm confident that it will be successful, that perhaps other schools and even those schools that are in the county may have an opportunity to take part in this academy. We need so much law and order in this country, and I'm just so grateful. And because we are in the business of education, it would behoove us to do the best that we can to make sure that our youngsters understand the right of the law. And thank you. I just wanted to say that I'm happy. I'm excited about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Felder. And I can't overstate how important your voice is on this. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. Dr. Jenkins.
Let me make one clarification, Madam Chair, to Member Castor-Dental's comments. So regarding specifics around teacher evaluation, that is at the bargaining table. They actually are working on an agreement around the specifics of the teacher evaluation. The whole issue of student testing and whether or not it will be moved forward this year, we await.
And go to back to this, because I suspected I got an email and wanted to be very careful about whether or how to respond, and I assumed this was a bargaining issue. Okay, thank you. Okay, Member Lopez. Oh.
Yes, I also want to congratulate the district, specifically Deputy Superintendent Dr. Vasquez, the Superintendent Jenkins, and also the multilingual department for working on the letter for access for ELLs. The test that we always, annually we send letters to the parents in different languages and explain about the test, but they are working on specifying or clarifying that there is no consequences for the families that decided not to send the students in case they are in high risk, or any member of the families that are facing, any type of high risk condition during this pandemic of COVID-19. So I just want to make that clear and to congratulate the district, because they're always thinking every student.
That's awesome, right? Thank you. Thank you for those positive comments. Member Byrd, I thought you had that look on your face. Okay, why isn't her button pushed? I know her eyes are saying I have something to say.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of add on to what Dr. Castor-Dental said about the testing. I too have serious concerns, as I'm sure many have, about the testing this year. Even our internal, our EOC exams, I'm concerned for my own children, because both of my daughters have had teachers that have been out for months, and it has made learning the material very challenging this year. So, one teacher's been home for a great reason. He's taking care of his wife, who is very ill. So, I don't blame him at all, but was out for months, and they've had a sub, and the teacher's been trying to work from home and sending material, and and that's an AP class too, so she's got an AP exam in that one. So, there's definitely concerns about how all of this has affected how much the kids have been able to learn, and how they've been able to, how they've been presented material, and if it, has not been smooth and easy sailing, that's for sure. So I just wanted to kind of add my echo to the concerns I have for all of the assessments being done this year, and how accurate, or how, not that they're not accurate, but just how much we hold our children, how much accountability there is attached to those with what they've gone through. So thank you.
Understood. I understand completely. Member Gallo.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just echo what Member Byrd and Member Dr. Castor-Dental has said as well. I think there's a need for us to assess where our children are at, so we know how much learning loss has happened during this pandemic. I know I speak for all of us when we'd be so happy to have this year away from us. And I know that coalitions like Alliance for Public Schools, PTAs, all other organizations, I think FADS, FSBA, everybody's asking for the department. I know Orange County Public Schools as well as asking for the DOE to have no accountability this year. It doesn't make sense. I mean, our kids are struggling. Our teachers are doing the best they can, teaching 2 different platforms. So I'm hoping that the Department of Education does the right thing. I was on a webinar today, Hunt's Institute, which I like them. Anyways, a couple weeks ago they had the chancellor from our Department of Education on there as well. But the theme today was, yes, we need to assess, but we can't use accountability. We can't use it against our teachers. We can't use it against our kids. And I'm hoping that message bubbles to the top, and institutions like that are really well respected by the Department of Education, that they'll take notice and they'll listen. So fingers crossed. I hope that they do the right thing. Thank you.
So would it be fair to summarize what I've heard as we believe there should be grace and compassion exercised? I've heard that before. And I like that. And I think in this year, it applies to almost every aspect of life. Certainly for our students and for our teachers who are trying their very best to succeed in this environment. Grace and compassion. That's what we need. Okay. Now that we've all reached agreement on that, any further business to come before the board? If not, this meeting is now adjourned. Common ground. Grace and compassion.
So what happened to that person that was supposed to be coming?
Didn't come.